Welcome back to Clean and Sober Stoner, what we like to call full metal banter. But this time around, it's what, 2/3 metal banter?
Yeah, not quite full.
All hails to Shaun over at the Heavy Underground Farm Report, taking a much needed break. Oh, crap, this thing will tear you apart.
It's a lot. It can be. If you let it, it can be.
Oh, you're so low key right now. How long you been at the social media, podcast, writing, blogging thing?
Not, maybe I've been a Doom Charts contributor for like 3 years. So I'd say probably right like around, the pandemic stuff was when I started to interact online and do that kind of stuff. So I'm relatively new to this whole thing. So
Yeah, but I mean, generally, I'm not going to throw names out. So sorry, folks. This is my passive aggressive side. Like, I'm going to bring up what they said, but I'm not saying who it was. So many people burnt out and taking breaks. Reverend, with this, I lied. I'm giving names. Man, he had to seriously take a few months off because when you get into like Facebook and Instagram and YouTube and then the arguments, and I don't know if you've noticed the political climate's a little,
yeah, a little bit. Yeah, just
a little bit of tension.
I tend personally to stay out of it when it comes to the music stuff and when it comes to the social media stuff, because the second I get into it, it'll that's something that could take me over, and that's something I would need to step away from very quickly. So I try to stay away from any of the toxic stuff there. I tend to try not to argue with a lot of people about the music stuff too, but sometimes people are just idiots occasionally, and you have to tell them that they're being stupid. I tend to not do that a lot, but it is warranted sometimes.
Yeah, but when you have a right wing anything using Rage Against the Machine music to justify what they're doing, Bullseye Parade, I don't think you listen to the song.
It's when you use any CCR song on the right side, when you use Born in the USA on they're not listening, or anything Neil Young, like you're just not listening.
Neil Young's like that's an all-time fave. Yeah. My day started out that way. A dude, you might even know him, puts up a post. Anybody who believes X might just unfriend me now. And I sat there really sad going, okay, I unfriended.
It's the absolutes, I think, are what bugs me the most about the political climate. Like, yeah. I have a group of 3 really good friends that we text all the time, and I would say the 3 of us definitely have different political mindsets and ideologies, but never do we end our conversations on that text chain with us mad at each other, which is the opposite of like 95% of the world right now. And I think that's one of the bigger challenges, is just being able to have like a conversation with someone who you don't agree with that won't end in you or them hating you because of what you're thinking or what you're saying. I see a lot of those posts. If you voted for this person, don't talk to me. You're not my friend. Like that's I don't understand. But yeah, I mean, if that's what you think and you don't want to hear any other alternate points of view, or it's such an absolute that there's no middle ground, then maybe that's the best for everybody. So,
Clean and Sober Stoner is a resistance channel. And I have that thing up. But I'm not necessarily resisting one person or one thing. I'm trying to resist the temptation to go after people online for what they think or believe. And as a boomer, seeing people putting their most personal, cherished beliefs on Facebook, I will never understand. Never in a million years. I tried to wrap my head around it. Wow.
Look, all the shit I get for liking Sammy Hagar better than David Lee Roth, that's enough for me. That's enough pressure and stress that I can't handle compared to my thoughts on the current political climate. I've had more people yell at me about liking Stained Class as my favorite Judas Priest record than anything else. It's
I know, but wait a minute. There's only, Sad Wings of Destiny. Amen. That's it.
Nope, there's no other Priest. Okay, fair, fine. But yeah, no, it's been it's hard to escape it, right? And I think that's kind of why I dig into a lot of this stuff, is to try to stay away from it a little bit. I don't put my head in the sand, but I also don't want to let it dominate anything else that can bring joy. So it's a weird time to have that kind of balance. But I just want people to go back to being able to have conversations about stuff and not cutting off people because they don't agree with what you're thinking.
It's going to be a while. One side has the Confederate flag, the KKK, and the Nazis. The other side has the safe space, politically correct, cancel culture. It's like, so I avoid that, for my own mental health. I absolutely avoid Fox News, CNN, MSNBC, I don't care what side of the spectrum it is, because sad to say, but the left, we don't have a good track record, especially when it comes to propaganda. It's hard, but I see it. It is starting to show fissures within the heavy underground, which is a shame. I have not gone that far. There's a couple right-leaning bands that I still have their music up. They're still on my playlist. And up until the day that they do something, across the line that I just can't, it's like, but so far that hasn't really happened. What I hate is the whole punching down thing. Like if somebody in the scene or outside of the scene is getting negative consequences from how things are going, and then people pile on them, you voted for this is your fault. And I'm like, dude, I want to win this war. That is our ally. We should be going, man, we've been waiting for you. Thank you. On both sides should do that. By the way, both sides. The punching down and the attacking people who are hurt, that's just weak ass shit.
Yeah.
Somebody lost their job and you're taking joy in it.
Yeah. Agree. It's but like you said, it's not going to change overnight. That's for sure. This is
no, we're
kind
in
of
for
where
the
we're
long
at
haul
right
here.
Now. So
we're going to get some. Let's just say there's some young artists and poets, and everybody's going to get a lot of really interesting inspiration over the next, hopefully only a few months, but you never know. And I don't want it to affect what it is that we do. I don't want it to affect the heavy underground. But lines are I can see it. I can see it's like a chessboard lining up and people are getting ready. And there's a certain doom coalition where you can just see it. You just see pitting one person against the other. And so, anybody who sees me engage in that bullshit, I need you to call me out on it. Send me a text, send me an instant message, blow me up. If I start feeding into that bullshit, now I know what side I'm on. I resist this, but I also resist the urge to be a dick as often as I can.
Early on in my time on Twitter, there was I forget even how it went, but I made a comment in a chat about how artists should be paid and compensated for the work and what they create. And I got destroyed by whatever side wanted everything for free and thought that this was like the vitriol I got, the direct messages I got. Like, how dare you suggest that an artist should be compensated for the work that they do? I couldn't believe it. Like, I was like, what alternate universe am I living in where the stuff that you create that comes from your mind, that you put your heart and soul into, should not be something that you are compensated for? It was a crazy conversation for me, and it was the point in time where I was like, anything that's not like band or album or music specific, I'm going to stay out of that, because this is not why I come here. I come here to like have conversations about music, talk about the stuff that we love, talk about new stuff, introduce things to that. And that one kind of dive into that. And even that, I don't even see how that's political, but it turned into this whole political thing where I had a whole bunch of people from a certain party just attacking me about it. And it was weird and uncomfortable and almost made me want to quit Twitter. But I'm not a quitter, so I stayed there. I just stay out of it at this point. It's just not worth it.
Are you still on X?
Trolls. Oh yeah, that's where I do most of my stuff.
God. No wonder I don't see your content except for when I can't go there. I can't.
I use a lot of and again, like I'm not saying what side of the arguments I'm on here, but what I do on X is I use a lot of words that will mute or block, or the second I see something that's not music related, I will either mute that word or I will unfollow that person. I will block that person if it gets to be. It's my escape from the world. It's my escape from work. It's my escape from watching the news. It's my escape from doing housework. It's my fun time, and I don't want that to be, I guess, poisoned by trolls or people who just want to, scream hateful things or whatever it is. So that's my kind of view on everything.
A lot of people have keyboard courage.
It's a dangerous thing. Mm-hmm. But get them out of their mom's basement, and it's a whole other story.
Maybe when people were predicting the apocalypse when the Gutenberg Bible was printed, it was going to destroy. Were they right? Let us know in the comments.
Yeah.
Is book publishing, reading and writing, did you got to go to root causes. So yesterday I was in such a bad headspace that I went, we're canceling them. Let's come back. I was just dark.
Yeah, you were a little bit. But the self-awareness was there, which was good.
Well, what it is, and I'm writing a script on it, and I just posted my first song dealing with it. It's 60 Watt Shaman's classic number, Red Colony. I have no idea if you know this song.
Mm-hmm.
It's to me, it's Mount Rushmore stuff. So I have seasonal affective disorder, summer type. Everybody thinks, that's a winter thing. I get it in the summer, and it usually peaks in like July. Anything I've ever done self-harm wise, ODing on alcohol, passing out, like the worst stuff I've ever done in my life, and it's some really bad shit, happened in like June, July, and August. So I went on for in my recovery for 20 years, not understanding. Because in recovery, they're like, oh, it's your birthday coming up. And so misdiagnosed. And I've been diagnosed with everything from anxiety disorder, NOS, to depression, to the whole gamut. And finally a doc went, no, that's seasonal affective disorder. So cold showers, cold baths, close the curtains, listen to good music, do some prayer and meditation stuff. So after you and I got off, because I was so, I got into it with my girlfriend. And then it's like, whoa, what's going on here? Oh, yeah, that. So I did, I'm burning my incense that I burn every year, autumn leaves. Nice. It's immediate. Did my meditation and started listening to the music. Like when I started really dealing with it, would have been around 97. It's before I was diagnosed, but it's the golden age of stoner doom. And I'm living out on this farm that was it's an abandoned milk farm about 10 miles outside of anywhere. Like I could look across and see Sacramento, and I could see the Rancho Forsako nuclear plant. So we named the property the Rancho Forsako. And I just remember going out there it's 105 degrees, no wind, just blasting 60 Watt Shaman, Rotors to Rust, Sloburn when that came out. So, to me, the heavy desert rock, the really good old stuff, instant, it doesn't get rid of my seasonal affective. I have it, but man, it minimizes it. So I'm going to have a video on that. And I just posted 60 Watt Shaman, and then I'll have a playlist for seasonal affective music. And what I really would love, anybody else who experiences this during the summer, send it in the comments and I'll try to see if I can upload the song. So
it's very cool.
I'm glad we waited.
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny that you have that's kind of where you go. I not necessarily seasonally, but when I'm, kind of ready to have the kind of day that you were having yesterday, my go-to music is or things in like the early 2000s, like post-hardcore stuff, bands like At the Drive-In, Boy Sets Fire, and Hot Water Music, where to me it's emotional, but it's also like you're getting the feelings that they have when they sing, and you sing along to it and you kind of get into it, and that's where I go. That the heavier the better, and the more emotional the better, and those are the bands that make me feel better when I'm feeling the way you are. So be interesting to hear other people who have those opinions. I know some people go more depressive music and that makes them feel better. Some people like the real like poppy
there are
stuff.
people for whatever reason they're going to thou and hell and Mizmor, which but I fully endorse it. Like, I'm not saying that it has to be, I'm not a gatekeeper. But yeah, the way to manage emotions and mental health. One, there's a line from a Monster Magnet, something about being very careful, whereas I pick my culture well, uh, which is just a line that resonates with me. So I avoid things that are going to tick me off. I do not pick fights online as much as possible. I eat correctly. Um, I watch a lot of like Game of Thrones during the winter scenes. That helps like immensely. I love it. And listen to really good music and talk to really good people like Rich Paiva, who allowed me. No, so it's a running joke now, right? I had the JJ Kozan thing, and he thought I was calling him an asshole. I'm like, never. Are you kidding? He's great. He's just JJ. He's not on a pedestal. It's just he's JJ. But I mispronounce names all the time, and it's becoming a running gag for me. I've been calling you Piva for what? We've known each other about a year.
Everybody does. I know people who've known me for 10 years who still do. I get introduced that way. In high school, I stopped telling the teachers how to pronounce my last name because everyone would say Piva. So I've gotten very used to it. And so what I will do now, when anyone sends that, I will send either a text or a Slack message at work, and it'll just be like a little piece of pie and a VA, and just send it that way and say Piva, and let's go. But hey, everybody, 98% of people who try my name the first time get it Piva. I'll get a Piva every now and then. But you're this is not exclusive to you for sure.
Well, I'm humbly saying I'm probably going to slip and call you Piva again.
It makes perfect
especially
sense.
If you say something like copy of a copy of a copy. You'll never get over that one. I'll never let that one go.
It's fair. It's fair.
I'm like, wait a minute, Black Moon Honey Cult. Better than the Strokes.
It's much better than the Strokes. Absolutely.
So there's actually so much. This is like literally a Rich Paiva session, because you have finally launched I'll let you say.
Yeah. So we have the Rich and Turbo Heavy Half Hour, which we've been doing on audio. So where you can get all of your audio podcasts, you can get that show. We have now launched the YouTube channel with the actual videos of it. So we started with Jake from Lords of Altamont and Black Honey Cult, and we then had the new interview with the Phoenix, Arizona doom band Day Tripper in full costume, which was wonderful.
Yeah.
It was, and I asked them, I said, we're doing this in character, right? They're like, yes. And Turbo ahead of time sent me a message saying, he's like, I hope they wear their hoods on the show. And I said, I really, really hope they wear their hoods. And we turned on the video, and there they are. So the goal now would be to get some of those old shows on there, because I have all the videos.
Oh, wow.
So I'm going to start doing that eventually.
Oh, wow.
So you can see, because part of the cool things of these interviews, like I interviewed Tony Reed in his studio with all of his stuff and his equipment surrounding him. And I interview, people with their posters behind them. And it's just another cool aspect to it. But we have interviews with the band Mooch coming up. I just talked to Hexecutioner last night. So we're going to have that show up there soon.
You want to talk about a band who's gone from nobody's ever heard of to boom.
Yeah, number 8.
Hexecutioner, I'm so proud of them, and they're so nice. They're so like, nice. Oh my God, thank you so much. I'm like, are you kidding?
Like, they were so humble and almost could not believe that they were that high up on the chart. And
well, number 8 is
it's crazy. And in May, in this month, which is had so much good stuff, and that was still that high up. And Aaron was like, I hope this isn't the peak. I said, I don't think so.
There's no way.
I don't think this is the peak at all. I think this is the beginning for you guys. So.
Yeah. So Hexecutioner, rock stars in the making. It's amazing how one edition of Doom Charts can like change everything. But then they had you behind them. They had Heavy Underground Farm Report. I've backed off from doing interviews. It's just about once a month. I really want to lean more into the recovery. So, yeah, I was going to mention a few people I'm lining up, and I thought, maybe I do
want to tease one other one that was super cool. It was we talked to Nobu from Heavy Katana.
No way.
And it was so cool. I got on the phone on a Monday morning, and Turbo and I talked to Nobu, talked about the new Heavy Katana record. They now how they signed with Ripple and
yeah, that was huge. That was a big one.
He was so cool, and you learn. I was so convinced, and like, he's probably the biggest Church Misery fan. That's probably where they all came up, and that's probably how they got into this. And I was completely wrong. Like, I learned so much about how he got into the heavy music that he's into. Such a great and interesting guy. So that'll be up over the next couple of weeks too.
Give us a clue. It's not Church of Misery. Who was it?
American 70s rock. Like Aerosmith. Aerosmith was his number one influence on getting into heavy music. And he answered the question properly of what the best Aerosmith record was.
What is the best Aerosmith record?
The best Aerosmith record is Rocks.
No.
Yes.
No. That's when they started jumping the shark and getting overproduced.
Oh, no.
The greatest Aerosmith album, period. The only right answer is Get Your Wings.
I can't agree with you there. Can't agree.
I know. Isn't it great?
Is a thing.
Aerosmith is such a great band, and they're such an important part of my adolescence and growing up. And I was in the age where we would literally debate, is Van Halen heavy metal? Is Aerosmith heavy metal? Is Nazareth heavy metal? Is Kiss heavy metal? Because back then, in the mid and late 70s, this is shocking, but that was all considered heavy metal, which is crazy. I've seen Styx. I discovered Styx as a progressive heavy metal band that was around the Crystal Ball era.
There are a lot of people who never really listened to metal, but they all knew the metalhead who smoked outside the smoking doors and wore their priest shirt and
Brownsville Station, smoking in the boys' room.
And then when they hear Judas Priest, like Judas Priest from that time, they're like, this is the heavy stuff that those headbangers and those scary guys smoking were listening to. I'm like, yeah, I mean, compared to, the new Nails record, or, the whatever, black metal or whatever. Yeah, no, that was not heavy compared to that. But at the time, the vibe, the look, the writing, the guitar, that was what heavy was. But yeah, you compare it to the things that are considered heavy these days, and not so much. But so Aerosmith, I was shocked.
That's a wonderful story.
Yeah, he's great. I'm looking forward to dropping that.
So and do you have video for that, or just
yeah, we have video for all of them now.
So basically you have a library. I just posted, I don't know if you've had a chance to watch it. I had Nika Rogers from Metal Nation on. And,
cool.
Glenn Benton from Deicide and, Candleman. I mean, her library is scary good. And now I'm hearing you are going to be publishing a library that it would be the envy of everyone in the scene.
I think we've done almost 60 shows.
Wow.
And I think I probably lost a few videos from the beginning, just because I had problems with the Zoom and everything at the time. And we've had some doubles. We've had Tony Reed on a couple times, had Luna Soul on a couple times, but generally speaking, we probably have about 40 to 45 like individual bands that have been on the show that we're gonna eventually post. And I feel like once I really get the hang of this Riverside stuff, I'll be able to get them up there relatively quickly.
Well, yeah, because you can upload to Riverside,
yep.
and then do all the only thing it doesn't do for you is like if you want to do shorts, because your videos, you're not able to get that. By the way, you also have a secret weapon with the Rich and Turbo's heavy half hour, which the biggest lie in metal. It's like you are nothing but clickbait, Paiva. Turbo is the equivalent of Reverend for our channel here. Turbo is going to be a star.
I agree with you.
It's the beard, it's the affect. The voice matches exactly. This guy's going to be...
The guy is an OG stoner rock, there at the stonerrock.com days, back in the the chats and whatnot, and knows more than I will ever know. So yeah, it's fun. We enjoy doing it. I get to meet some really, really cool bands. 90% of the time that I ask people to be on the show, they say yes. So yeah, we'll continue it and make it as long as it stays fun.
Do you ever interview YouTube personalities? I
would love to have you on the show, especially when you're saying nice things about Turbo.
What, where, when?
We'll make it happen.
Turbo is, I mean, watching him, and I'm like, holy shit, why did they wait until now?
The funny thing is, when I go start, he has some trigger points that I talk about. So I tend to mention the city of Buffalo, New York every show, and his eyes start to roll. Because I went to school there, and somehow everything connects to it. When I start talking about punk and hardcore, he's like, oh shit, here we go again. Rich and his punk and hardcore. And you can see his face, the facial expressions are wonderful. So I think the whole package is going to be he's great.
Kind of on my side of that whole thing. I'm like, oh Christ. I mean, seriously, the Sex Pistols are basically the Monkees. The only difference is the Monkees knew how to play their instruments.
I mean, some of them did, and eventually they learned.
No, they all did.
I would say that
Peter Tork didn't. You're right. Peter Tork didn't.
Mike Nesmith, legend.
He played with Stephen Stills, or he was hanging around and had recorded something with Stephen Stills.
Yeah, Nesmith was I think the most talented of the Monkees. But
Davy Jones, come on. How can you not look and listen to Davy Jones and you go, God, I hate that Mooger Fooger. All the girls love him. And then David Cassidy came around with his Partridge Family BS.
How did we get to punk to talking about this? You went Sex Pistols on punk. I usually go like hardcore when we talk about punk, like New York City hardcore and that type of stuff. And that's really when Turbo turns out. But that's kind of how I came up. So I'm relatively new to the stoner doom genre, relatively speaking. Most of my stuff was 90s grunge era stuff. Before that, your Metallica and your metals, and then more into the post-hardcore punk stuff after that. So stoner doom is relatively new,
right?
In my love for.
I think there are 3 bands responsible for uniting the hardcore scene and the heavy metal scene. Number 1, period, the GOAT would be Motorhead.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they inspired so much stuff. The next one for me is going to have to be Soundgarden.
Interesting.
Especially like Ultra Mega OK was very hardcore. And the other one you might not see coming, but Helmet.
Well, you listen to those first couple of Helmet records; they're hardcore records, and they came up as a kind of a post-hardcore band.
Post-hardcore,
I totally hear that. The band that you're missing when it comes to well, there are 2, I would say, that I really love when you're moving from like a hardcore punk to a metal would be Suicidal Tendencies on their first record, To Join the Army.
Deja Vu, Feel Like Blank is one of my I love that album.
DRI was really, really cool,
Okay.
kind of crossover thrash band. And I have always loved Sick of It All too. And Sick of It All is definitely more of a hardcore band, but they started to get more of a metal following just based on the records that they put out and kind of the respect that that band has. And thank God Lou is recovering from his cancer and doing really well. But yeah, I could do a whole hardcore punk show.
There's one other one we can't. I can't live in Raleigh, North Carolina if I forget to go. The most obvious and successful would have been Corrosion of Conformity.
Absolutely.
Going from Technocracy to God,
Blind,
Albatross, Blind, America's Volume Dealer. I mean, there's so many. Deliverance might be. That's one of them, right?
Yep.
Yeah. That's where I know him from.
The record that I think transcends for me when it comes to like stoner doom to now of what I liked, say, in high school, taking out the Alice in Chains and all that obviously influence a lot of the bands that we love today. But I stumbled upon Manic Frustration by Trouble. Just stumbled upon it one day and bought it, and it blew my mind to this day being my 1 and 1A favorite albums of all time. Had no idea what they did before. Yeah, I love it so much. Never knew what they did before. It wasn't into the old school, kind of the Christian-y doom stuff they had, though I love it now. But that record to me was super important in understanding like how my musical taste basically molded into what it is today. And I think that record still is one of the most important records in how and what I listen to. And will always be kind of 1A for me of my favorite albums of all time.
Well, I went so far.
Uh-oh.
Favorite albums of all time? There's no way you know where this comes from.
No, tell me what.
King Crimson, Lark's Tongues and Ascent. Except, I don't know if you can see it, but the eyes are closed. I wanted the artist to do their own take on it. And
very cool.
Massive shout out to Sierra and Apocalypse Girl Tattoo and Carrie. I'll be doing some sort of reel or we have some footage. And yes, Patrick from Clean. No, I'm not getting your tattoo, but I wore your shirt while I was getting the tattoo. I've been waiting 41 years to get this.
Nice.
Yeah. Nice. So finally, I figured, what the heck? What do you got? What are your tats?
I got nothing.
What would be your tattoo? Like, I'm not saying get a tattoo, but if you had to get a tattoo, what would it be?
Oh my. I have no idea. It would definitely be something music related.
Right.
But I don't know what. On the next episode, I will come back with my top 3 potential tattoos that I would get.
And we might do a GoFundMe so people can. Man, don't do that stuff. So you and I got to do a guest appearance on Sea Tranquility, and I have been watching Sea Tranquility since before the pandemic. I'm huge. I just have so much respect and love for Pete Pardo and what he's done in building up. I mean, it's just a dude, right? Holding up a CD and talking about it. Nothing changes. He's the GOAT. To me, he's the GOAT. He's the best music reviewer on YouTube. And then you and I got to be on a show that's part of Sea Tranquility with our new friend, Jamie.
It was a lot of fun. Got to talk about some cool records. Got to hear you guys talk about some cool records, even though you stole at least one of the ones I wanted to do.
Holy Roller?
Yeah. Oh, love that. Love that record.
I wrote the liner notes for that album. Yeah.
I know. I wasn't.
But I screwed up the liner notes. And Jay and guys, if you're watching, all I did was write who played what and who wrote what. I don't know. I'm shy. I'm new at this. I didn't know if they wanted me to do one of the old-fashioned like narrative. I had no idea. But I heard that album almost a year and a half ago. I think they had just finished. They hadn't even mastered it, and I got to hear it. So come on, man, it's North Carolina.
Yeah, I know. Both of your picks were North Carolina. So I get it, completely get it. So, but yeah, no, it was a lot of fun. But it was kind of like a Doom Charts episode, which was pretty cool. And
it was because he's one of the newest members of the Doom Charts.
Yeah,
which is awesome.
It was fun. It was fun, awesome. Even though he liked the Witchcraft record way more than I think you and I both like. So,
God, I just don't have anything good to say about Witchcraft. I respect that people like it. I really do.
It's the idea of the band that I like, and the vibe of the band. But the last couple records, I tried with this one too. It didn't even make my list, my top 25. I have it in my kind of overall stuff I dug for the month, but it didn't make my Doom Charts list this month. I just struggle a bit, a lot with it. I'll keep trying. I have the levitation vinyl version sitting in my room, ready to be spun. So maybe that'll do it. Maybe I'll get some inspiration via the wax. But no, overall it was really fun being on that show for sure. Had a really good time.
It was a blast, and hopefully other Doom Charts members will be able to be a part of that, and I would do it again in a heartbeat. But most people, because they're like, what, 10 in the morning on a Saturday? I'm like, shit, I'm sober, man. I've been up since 7. Let's go.
I was ready to go. Yeah, me too. I was ready. I'm like, we can do earlier if you guys are ready for it. But yeah, a lot of fun. Would do that again in a second. I mentioned, and you and I talked a little bit about this yesterday, about some of the records that were on the Doom Charts for May that maybe were a little bit lower than what we would have thought.
Yeah.
What I know, a couple of them that you mentioned came to mind. Anything that you want to call out here?
Yeah, Coffin, CWFEN. I believe they're from Wales, and for a first album, a first thing, it is. And I still have a bone to pick with you. I'm kind of dancing around it. It's original and innovative. And yeah, I mean, of course, you're going to go back to the original Coven. And there might be some passing similarity with Jinx's vocals. But man, this album, like the opening song, could be in my top 20 songs for the year.
Wow.
I really love this band. I think they came up in like the 60s or 70s on the list. And I think they're a band that definitely should get more of a shout out, I think, than what they got. Otherwise, it's not often that my picks actually place all within the top 40. I think they're the only one that didn't.
Not me. Well, that's not true. The only one that didn't, and I knew it wouldn't. I had two. I had the Crystal Teardrop, which it's definitely like a 60s psychedelic pop band on Rise Above Records.
Okay, you're giving me more fuel for what I'm going to attack you about.
Really good. Again, I know. I love the retro stuff. And the other record, and shout out to Remy from Doom Charts for responding and saying that he was glad I put this on my list and he was going to put it on his, was we've talked about it before, the new album from McCluskey. And I knew
McCluskey placed pretty high.
Yeah, was it? I have to take a look. I didn't necessarily see that it was there, but I think more people voted for it than I thought they would. And I had it really high on my list because I love that band. And I think we talked a little bit about the Paralyzed record being a little higher than we thought it might.
Oh, I don't know, because then I'm a screaming asshole if I actually say my reaction to
How do you feel about it? Okay, fair. But I think we can firmly, I agree, but this month being pretty close to where I had a lot of stuff. Very happy for Ox, very happy for the Witch Rot record, the Turtle Skull record, Crystal Spiders being at 3, Kal-El definitely belonging at number 1. So no real complaints, I don't think, this month. but it was a stacked month. What did you say? It was like 276 albums that got a vote?
Yeah, it was an insane amount of albums. And I think that's part of why some of us and a lot of the Doom charters, a lot of the reviewers, they've had to take like a week to a month off. Mentally, it is so difficult to go through all these albums. And then I end up with a band like Slumbering Sun, who sends me an email on the 28th. I'm literally finishing my list. I get this thing from Slumbering Sun, and it was so. There are ways to reach out to reviewers. There are ways to do it. If you want to guarantee that a reviewer's gonna at least listen to your stuff, don't send a form letter. Just say, hey, we'll use you. Hey, Rich, congratulations on the new YouTube channel. We're big fans. We just dropped our EP. If you have time, we'd love it. And just include the Bandcamp link and the Bandcamp code and maybe Spotify. But you just take a couple seconds and go, hey, congratulations on the channel. So I got one of those and I listened to it and I'm like, it's still, it hurts putting that number two. It did. I think, and then I get to see them because this is my limited opportunity to promote, right? We are sponsored. We threw down money for the Asheville Doomed and Stoned. And we're hopefully gonna finalize a merch order. So we're gonna have shirts, hopefully patches, and then I have a bunch of stickers to give away. But we're going to see Slumbering Sun first night at the Aud in Asheville, and I am so psyched. They're just so good that I don't think they can be ignored.
Where are they? Are they from?
Texas?
They're from Texas. All right, cool.
Yeah, it's like 10 different bands that they're members of, but the one that caught my eye is members of Temptress, and I'm like,
love Temptress.
Love Temptress.
Love Temptress. Yep. Okay. Yeah, no, that's that was one of my top records when it came out, and was it last year or the year before? Yeah. I absolutely love them. Looking at the Doomed and that's you got a very, very impressive lineup of bands with Restless Spirit. They've been on our show.
Restless Spirit. Oh my God, I still can't believe they're there. Year of the Cobra. I get
Year of the Cobra.
I've been holding back. So Amy, I know I said I'm going to write a review. I'm going to do I want to see the band and then gush like I did with Crystal Spiders. Seeing them just opened my eyes to everything.
Yeah. Long Island's own Restless Spirit. Bronco, awesome heavy band out of they're a North Carolina band, right?
Yeah, they're from Wilmington. That's the members of Toke. I saw them. They opened for Crystal Spiders last week.
Sweet, yeah. It's a pretty amazing lineup. Now you said Lopan's not playing, right? Is that correct? Lopan.
Yeah, Lopan backed out, got replaced by Temple of the Fuzz Witch. Awesome. Let me read this off. We have Bronco. We have Guts, which I believe is coming out with an album. Stone Nomads. To me, they belong way higher in the pantheon of active Doom bands. Doomsday Prophet, the guys I did the April Fool's joke with, it was so real. People thought I was actually that big of a dick during it. I love that one. Dead Vibes Ensemble, totally new to me. Bonehawk.
Excellent.
Dope Scum, one of the first people that I've interviewed and on the channel. Friends with Cody is still one of my favorite interviews. I mean, the second half of that interview to me is like, holy shit. Ooga Booga. Ooga Booga is coming down to Asheville, North Carolina. I cannot believe Ooga Booga. There's a band just like Hexecutioner that they popped. So very excited to see them. Night Beers, it would be my first time with them. Temptations Wings, which I have heard of, and I have heard their music, so I'm looking forward to more. Opening night, Lung Burner. That's one reason to go. I'd go just to see Lung Burner. Then you have Bourgeois, Slumbering Sun, And then North Carolina's best kept secret, Calgon. Oof.
Wow, that's
It's going to be a
awesome.
heavy night, man.
Yeah, that's very, very
It's going
cool.
to be a heavy show. So we're sponsoring it. Julie and I will both be there. And hopefully, you know, I'm hoping that the place is so sold out that people are standing outside. And I go, hey, I'll leave. Go on in. Go on in. And we can go out there and can do my juggling act and entertain. I'm psyched. Grasping Air Booking put together. I mean, this is his first festival. You would think Ryan Garney had done this. You would think that somebody a little JB from Maryland Doomfest. This is a seriously stacked
very cool.
festival.
Very cool. It's not Asheville Stone and Doomed, but I go to limited shows these days just because of what I get around here. But I am lucky enough to be going to see Clutch in a couple weeks. I haven't seen them. Well, I saw them at Rockville last year, but it was a festival set. And they're playing the full second album all the way through, which makes me very happy. So I'm very excited to get to see
I love
Clutch.
the trend right now of bands playing albums all the way through. By the way, in my boomer mind, that is how it should be. Period. I know everybody wants to hear the hits. So I know when I go and see a band, I want to hear the album start to finish.
Yeah. No, the last time I think I saw some bands do that when I went to Riot Fest a few years ago, but one of the bands that did it recently, relatively recently, was Helmet did Betty all the way through. And oh man, that
favorite Helmet album, by the way.
Checks all the boxes for me. It was so loud. I brought people to that show that were not quite ready for what was about to happen. And I wound up staying there by myself for the second half of it. But yeah, it should be fun. And that's my favorite Clutch record too. It's how I got into the band. Another kind of, I consider the second Clutch record and Manic Frustration kind of my push towards the Stoner Doom side of things. And that second record means a lot to me. And I'm super pumped to see it play out all the way through.
We're not going to resolve this today, but so the last time that we did a thing, I made the stupid statement that today's guitarists are better than the 70s. Which, by the way, I do mean that, but in a certain way. Like that's just being clickbaity, right? Throwing it out there. So I need to rephrase it that the guitar work that is being laid down today at the bar level, at the club level, at the mid level, and at the upper level is the equal of what we heard in the 70s. I think Nick DiSalvo is one of the most original and innovative guitarists that I think any generation's ever had. I could say the same about Shaun McVey with King Buffalo, where he could easily be a David Gilmour clone. And he does have a similar touch to David Gilmour, but David Gilmour never came up with those leads, never came up with those melodies. And I think this is the golden age. And the response I got, I think it was in writing, is why would I listen to a copy of a copy?
Really?
Yeah, from you.
No, that wasn't me.
Yeah,
that might have been Turbo, actually. Because I think Turbo was interacting with you in regards to this conversation.
I don't care. It was under your moniker,
he has
so
opinions.
that was you.
My opinion on this is I don't disagree with you that there are as many talented people today as there were then. I don't disagree with you. I think there are more, and there are people who have been able to learn a lot from what came before them. And I think we are actually spoiled with what we get. Yeah. And I think sometimes we take it for granted of how much talent there is because of the sheer volume of people who are putting this music out. I don't think it's, to me, you're kind of apples and oranges, only because they were still innovating then, I think we're still innovating now, but it's not as much of an innovation as it was in what the people were doing in the heavy music in the 70s. But I think that the sheer volume of how many players are at that top level would probably surpass what was in the 70s. So I'm with you. I'm with you on that. But I think a lot of people would go with the fact that the innovators of the day were from then, and a lot of what people are doing now are learned from what those 70s bands did. And now we're building on top of that. So I that's what I would say there, and that's
I need to
where
argue with that. I do respectfully, hopefully respectfully. I mean, it is an apple and an orange, and the culturally guitar rock doesn't have the same place. But part of that is the media and reviewers' fault. And I love reviewers, and right now I'm blanking on names, but the disrespect and the disregard for the new generation stuff, if you're just a regular music listener, you occasionally listen to the radio or whatever, and you hear people like Rick Beato, who's gotten a lot better, like Martin Popoff, like Gene Simmons, who are all, well, one, they're boomers. So they're of the fading generation. If the only narrative you hear is that the music was so much better in the 70s, that's self-fulfilling. And I think the stoner doom scene needs to do a much better of how we present ourselves, because this is the most exciting music scene imaginable. It's like 1982 on the Sunset Strip, except it's happening in Al's Bar in Lexington. It's happening at the Poorhouse and Chapel of Bones here in Raleigh. It's happening in your hometown. You get to hear these people. You get to see Castle Rat, at least now, in a 200, 300 seat club. There's no way that's happening after their next album. They're boom.
I was listening to the new Goya record to review it from Usipedia of Metal, where I do reviews. Cheap plug, Matt. You're welcome.
Is that July or June?
It comes out Friday.
Okay.
And Jack Endino produced it, which blew me away. The fact that that Goya got Jack Endino to produce this record, and it would have been a huge record in 1995. It sounds like the Melvin, Soundgarden, Typo Negative, and Electric Wizard had this like evil child. And Jeffrey Owens, who is the songwriter and the guitar player, just extremely talented. But a guy also who, unless we do our job and other reviewers in the scene do the job, we're going to hear it. There's a couple thousand people that would hear it if we're lucky. But that record to me is a 10 out of 10. It's like the best Doom record I've heard in a long time. And the songwriting and the playing, it's all next level. But to your point, we need to figure out a way to make more people hear this stuff, because that is a record that should be heard by anyone who likes heavy music, regardless if you're in the stoner, the doom, or just regular metal or hard rock, whatever it is. So that's one point I completely agree with you. We need to do better in getting this stuff out there, because it should be heard by more, because there's so many talented people doing this stuff today.
I think lyrically, the themes that we deal with in stoner and doom, I think it's perfect for today's environment. Yeah. And not wishful thinking, like, are we ever going to reign supreme? By the way, just so people know, hard rock never reigns supreme. Just take a random look at the Billboard charts from 50 years ago, 40 years ago, and 30 years ago. I'm telling you, in the 1970s, it was Captain and Tennille. It was John Denver. Who else would have been in there? The Carpenters.
I think the argument would be the 90s, when you had a band like Skid Row release an album and it was the number one record in the country.
Okay, we need to do a 90s version. We need to do a 90s flashback.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
So next month, you heard it right here, we're gonna commit to a 90s flashback.
And I would like to call out, and you mentioned our friends in Holy Roller. A guy like Jay would be a wonderful third wheel for the 90s conversation, because he and I got into it with all of the bands that we love. I think we invite him for a roundtable of 90s flashback.
Full Metal Band. That would be an interesting idea of two Dune Charts dudes and actually talk about it with a band member, an actual musician. That's crazy talk.